All right, welcome into Reiter's Block from Los Angeles, California, presented by Stefan versus the Game on Facebook. Watch on Bill Reiter. We have a star-studded show for you. The Hall of Famer Isaiah Thomas is going to be on the program. Phoenix Suns big man DeAndre Ayton's going to be on the show. And, of course, we're going to preview tonight's Western Conference Finals action, starting right now. All right, Portland Trailblazers trying to keep that magical run alive. I know they're a 3 seed, but let's be honest. Very few of us gave them credit to getting here, and now the most difficult challenge of all awaits them, the Golden State Warriors. And Damian Lillard, who is the star, with all respect to C.J. McCollum, who was awesome in the conference semifinals, Damian Lillard has to be huge for his team to pull the huge upset. And he's from the Bay, he talked heading into tonight's game how excited he is to play at Oracle.
It's a storybook moment, just to, for them, this being the last year playing in Oakland, me growing up here, and we've won on their floor and on our floor. So I think that says that we know we're capable of winning. We know we're capable of beating them. We just got to go out there and do it. We got to put it on the floor.
I love Dame, but we got to keep it a little real. Yes, they beat the Warriors on the Warriors' floor, but to be fair, Damian Lillard has won a single postseason game against the Warriors and C.J. McCollum in their careers against Golden State, and that happened when Dame scored 40 points, and more importantly, before Kevin Durant arrived with the Warriors and when Steph Curry missed that game. I know the stats say that Damian Lillard has a real chance to be incredible, and be incredible against the Warriors. We've talked a lot about it here on HQ, about the fact that Dame has the best games, the best averages of his career across the board for the most part against Golden State. But the problem is that doesn't always translate to the postseason, something I just mentioned, and something, little eyebrow raiser, Klay Thompson mentioned when asked about Dame's success against his team.
I mean, he's tough to stop. I don't know, has he had a lot of wins in Oakland?
Well, he hit a game winner in December. He's had some good games in Oakland.
Yeah, it's playoff time, though. He has had good games, but there's a history between us, obviously. The franchises, we've seen them a lot.
I mean, that's a very reluctant, yeah, he's had good games, but let's be honest. The guy has sucked in the postseason against us. That's basically what Klay is saying. So how does Portland do it? What is the key? Everything has to go right. Damian Lillard has to be the best version of himself and a little more efficient. He shot a little under 40% from the field in his career in the postseason against the Warriors. And obviously C.J. McCollum, to change the narrative, has to be awesome. He was great in this postseason. McCollum this year averaging 26 points per game in the playoffs, 45.5% from on field goal percentage, 41% on threes, 113 offensive rating, markedly better than his postseason career up to this point. And CJ knows that the other key, beyond Dame and beyond himself, because Portland has to get the best version of every single player on that team to go up against this Warriors team, even with Durant out, CJ knows the role players have to be key as well.
I was talking to D-Wade last night about what it takes to win a championship. He was just telling me the importance of role players. You got Zach Collins, who ends up starting the second half, Rodney Hood, who's been great in the playoffs. Those are the type of guys, Chief, Mo, we're going to need them to play well in order to potentially advance.
And here's where we hit you with a little bit of reality. I like Rodney Hood a lot as a player, but he's got to be the guy he was in that second round series, averaging around 15 points a game, not the guy who basically disappeared in that opening round series against the Thunder. Talked to Enes Kanter yesterday, and I love what they've done with him. Brought him in off the buyout market for the Knicks. Turned out to be a really important big man, especially in that last series with Nurkic going down. But Kanter told me his shoulder's still in a lot of pain. He's using massive painkillers to try to get through the pain and deal with that. So that the injury, Collins has been fine, but the reality is that Steph and Klay and Draymond are still champions. They've been here. They've dominated at every level the Trailblazers. If Dame is his best version of himself, if McCollum can be a star again, if the role players can all step up under the heightened pressure of the conference finals, which doesn't normally happen, even then it feels like the Warriors have a huge advantage. Give me Golden State tonight. Give me Golden State with the 7.5. That's my big bet of the day. Give me the Warriors rolling against a great story in Portland, but a story that starts to end tonight at Oracle Arena. That's my take. We're going to get a perspective from DeAndre Ayton. We're going to get a perspective from Isaiah Thomas. And we'll start with the big man from the Suns. DeAndre Ayton joins me on Writer's Block here on CBS Sports HQ in just a moment. All right, welcome back into Writer's Block, presented by Stefan versus the Game on Facebook Watch. I'm Bill Reiter here live from Los Angeles, California. Very cool, as you know, the draft lottery is tonight, and the Phoenix Suns have sent to Chicago big man, superstar DeAndre Ayton. Very cool. He makes some time for us from Chicago. DeAndre, thanks for being here.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
So the draft lottery is not that far away. You guys have a really good chance to land that number 1 overall pick again. Do you have a lucky rabbit's foot? Any superstitions? Anything you're bringing in terms of trying to bring some luck to the organization tonight?
This is my first time. It's a great experience. Honored to be here as well to represent the Phoenix Suns. But yeah, just mainly, coming here with Gabriel and bringing the best good luck trying to get that number 1 overall pick.
Love that. Obviously, you were in a different position a year ago. Now you're the representative for the Suns. As you look back at the last year, your development as an NBA player, what are the things that strike you the most? What surprised you the most about the NBA and how it maybe played itself out in ways you didn't expect?
Oh yeah, bringing your A game every night, and everyone's watching you, no matter what position you're in, and how the records look. So all eyes are on you, and people want to see improvement and performance. So yeah, just competing at the highest level every night.
So you and Devin Booker are obviously an incredible core there in Phoenix, and your organization is going to have a chance one way or another to pick a very talented basketball player after we find out the order in a few hours, and maybe the number 1 overall pick. Do you have a perspective on who you think, if you guys have the choice, would pair best with you and Devin and the rest of the guys to try to continue to build a winner in Phoenix?
I'll say everybody say we need a point guard. I mean, it's whatever the team needs, to be honest, and what we need to win, and that's all we're really looking for right now. So yeah, I'll leave that up to the front office.
In just a moment, I'm going to try to get you to give me a Western Conference prediction, but I want to get your perspective first on the Eastern Conference. You guys played and beat. You played Milwaukee really tough. You beat Milwaukee a couple times this past season, and back in March, I think it was March 5th, not only did you guys beat the Bucks, but you personally guarded Giannis. You did a hell of a job on him. You had a great game offensively and defensively. We all know that Giannis is a pretty amazing player. What does Toronto have to do? What did you learn from your efforts against him to just try and slow that guy down and put that team in a position to beat that Bucks squad the way you guys did on March 5th?
Fight fire with fire. That's about basically it. Just not spreading the floor, but keeping the lane tight, having the lane crowded with everyone. Not really giving him the open three, but using my size and length to, really shadow him a little bit. But yeah, mainly in transition, I just tried my best to get back and protect the rim so we can see all 5 guys behind me.
You did a nice job, DeAndre, guarding Giannis. You guarded LeBron earlier this year. I know LeBron's not in the postseason, but when you look out at the remaining teams in the postseason, for your money, who's the toughest guy to guard that's left in these playoffs?
Most definitely Giannis. And I'll say Kawhi Leonard as well.
Yeah, that's a hell of a showdown. Kawhi versus Giannis. They're both incredible players. Giannis probably going to be the MVP this year. Kawhi's been a Finals MVP. They're both amazing. Who do you think going toe-to-toe, if that's what happens as we expect, who do you think between Kawhi and Giannis has the advantage in that one-on-one showdown?
That's a tough one. They're both great competitors. I don't know. That's a tough one. To me, people I've played against, I'll say Kawhi. I think Kawhi, he takes a lot more difficult shots, a lot more jump shots, stuff like that. So yeah, he'll try to give more to the offense.
Yeah, both those guys are incredible. You know, fans, media members like me, DeAndre, we're not always particularly patient, but it's a process, right? It takes a while. This Bucks team last year was a 7 seed and didn't make it out of the first round of the playoffs. Now they've got a chance to make an NBA Finals. We've seen this story before. It's a ladder for teams to figure out who they are, to get the experience, and to get where they want to go. When you look at your Suns team and how young you guys are, the core you have, you're obviously going to add a high-level pick this year in the draft. For you, what does the future look like, and how close do you think you are to breaking through and being the team, a postseason team that you guys obviously want to be?
I mean, I don't think we're that far from being that team. And honestly, having that excuse that we're young. I mean, yeah, we're young, but we just need that, that leader, that head honcho to really lead us to success and show us the right way how to, how to accomplish success. So, just we have young guys that are very humble and hungry on this team, and we want to win. And it's a lot of pride as well. So, I mean, we just need a leader to really, help us and show us the ropes on how to really, learn this NBA.
DeAndre, when we find out who's drafting 1 and 2 and 3 today, the young men who are going to be in the NBA draft that's coming up, a lot of those guys, several of those guys are for the first time in their careers almost certainly going to go to teams where winning's not something that's normal. Winning's not something that happens a lot. Guys like you, guys that make this level, guys that are drafted number 1 in the NBA draft are used to a certain level of domination in their careers. Just for you personally, what advice would you give young players who are going to teams that may not have the level of success they're used to at the collegiate level, at the AAU level, at the high school level? What's the right way to just try to prepare yourself for that if you're a young player coming into a team that may not win a lot of basketball games year 1?
When you guys lose a game, just try to enter the game. Just make sure you play to your best ability, to your best effort. Make sure that you can say that you honestly gave your all for that game or however many games you play. And the most important thing that kept me going through this season was I never lost. I never felt that I lost the game. I felt like I learned after every loss, to be honest. Like, I never lost. It was just a learning experience to get me to a W, to be honest. And yeah, it was never a loss. It was just, learning and, experiencing certain things and seeing how other great teams, play together and, just seeing how they vibe with each other and compete as well.
All right, before we let you go, tonight's opening salvo in the Western Conference Finals is a Portland team that has played really gutsy basketball. The shot by Dame with Paul George in his face, that Game 7 win down in Denver. We all know what a challenge the Warriors are. You've obviously faced each of these teams this season. What does Portland have to do to try and shock people? And do you think they can, or from your perspective, does it feel like this in the end is going to be the Warriors moving on to yet another NBA Finals?
To be honest, Portland has already told themselves they can do it. And yeah, it's going to be, and there's no turning back for them. To be honest, they were the toughest team to play against last season for me. And yeah, they have a point to prove. And, it's going to be great basketball because the Warriors are also a great team. So it's going to be also World War III in the West Conference as well.
All right, if you had to give me a prediction, who do you think wins this thing? How many games do you think it goes?
Oh my goodness. I don't know. I just know it's going all the way to Game 7. That's what I'm feeling antsy about great games. So I don't know. The Warriors, I guess, but I don't know. Everyone's saying the Warriors, the Warrior area is coming.
Yeah, it's been a great playoffs. I'd love it to go 7. DeAndre Ayton, really appreciate the time. Good luck, not just in your success at the NBA level going forward, but tonight to your organization. Hope the ping pong balls bounce the right direction for you guys. Very cool of you to make some time here on CBS Sports HQ. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
It's an exciting time in the NBA, man. There are so many good young players. If you're looking just for how to try and throw Giannis off a little bit, that March 5th game and the highlights of DeAndre Ayton really going toe-to-toe with Giannis and getting the best of him. And that Suns team getting the best of Milwaukee, it's a reminder, it's a case study. it can be done. It helps to have a talent like DeAndre Ayton to make it possible. From one great guest to another, the Hall of Famer, my friend Isaiah Thomas, going to be on Reiter's Block on CBS Sports HQ when we come back. Greetings, I'm Bill Reiter, and this is Reiter's Block on CBS Sports HQ, presented by Stefan versus the Game on Facebook Watch. Earlier today, had a chance to catch up with Isaiah Thomas, old friend of mine, really good dude, obviously a Hall of Famer, had a lot of insight on tonight's matchup and more. Here's that conversation. All right, Isaiah Thomas, Hall of Famer, joining us thanks to your partnership with the NBA PA and Think 450. It's been a minute, man. Good to see you again.
It's been a long minute. We definitely need to get back to now we can sip champagne as opposed to sipping sangria.
That was my first sangria experience, and I'm not gonna lie, it was not my last. So thank you for introducing me to it.
You are welcome. You are definitely welcome. We had a good day. We had a good talk. Thank you.
It was really fun. It's great to see you again. Western Conference Finals tonight. Showdown of two pretty dynamic point guards in Damian Lillard and Steph Curry. For each of those guys, Isaiah, what do you think the keys will be to not just tonight's game, but this series?
I think, when you talk about, this series, to me, it definitely comes down to guard play. You got Steph and Clay, you got Dame and CJ, and Dame and CJ are playing extremely well right now. They can take you off the dribble. Either one of them can play pick and roll. They can get their own shot. They got the ball in their hands an awful lot. And when you look at Steph and Clay, I mean, three-time champs, they do it from everywhere. They shoot it. So I'm looking forward to this matchup because I think you got two guards who really want to try to take the champion down. And while Dame and CJ have respect for Steph and Clay, they definitely are looking forward to the competition and want to compete against Steph and Clay. And I find that intriguing.
Isaiah, a lot of folks and put me in that group, and I love that Portland team, and I thought they beat Denver in Game 7. But a lot of us are not giving the Trailblazers a lot of credit, a lot of chances in this series, even with KD out for at least a couple games. Are we missing something? Do you see a scenario where you think Portland can actually advance to an NBA Finals this time around?
They definitely have a shot. Whenever you're in the Western or Eastern Conference Finals, the key is to stay healthy. And right now, Portland comes in as the most healthy team. Even though they're missing Nurkic, their leading center, they've played a couple of rounds without him, so they got a feel and an understanding and the confidence how to play. Golden State is still trying to adjust to life without KD, even though they beat Houston without Durant. Playing against this Portland team is going to be a little different. It's a little different kind of style. It's a little different kind of play. Houston played, three and layup and free throw. Houston only gave you three areas to score from, and Golden State got good at defending those three areas. But when you look at Portland, they score from all five areas of the floor. They use the mid-range, they use the post game, they use layup, they shoot the three. They give you a multitude of areas that you have to defend, which is, will stress Golden State a lot. However, Golden State is a champion. Steve Kerr is a great coach. We'll find a way to figure it out. I do think Golden State rediscovered their bench in the Houston series. When Durant went out, it forced Kerr to go back to his bench and rely on his bench. And I think he found that his guys were ready to play. His bench was ready to play. Not only were they ready to play, but they were able to play, perform, and do well in a stressful situation and environment.
Isaiah, we hear a lot about how hard it is to win back-to-back NBA championships, let alone what the Warriors are going for, which is a three-peat. You're one of the few people on earth who know something about that. You and your Pistons teams, you won back-to-back championships. You made that Eastern Conference Finals in year 3 before losing, I think, to Chicago, if I'm remembering properly. Can you just give us a sense of why it is so difficult and what the Warriors need to try to do just to keep their eye on the prize going for that third one?
The exhaustion that you face from playing year in and year out over a period of years. Golden State right now, I think they're in their 5th or 6th year for playing at this level and going for it. They've played more games than anyone in the NBA at this point in time. And not only have they played more games because of advancing every year, what makes it so difficult is the physical exhaustion, but more so importantly, the mental exhaustion. Being able to sustain that level of concentration for so many years, at some point in time, there's a crack. And the crack comes when there's a turnover or there's a missed free throw, or you have muscle injuries in terms of soreness, in terms of tears. Those things that start to weigh on you. And that's why they always said it's a marathon, not a sprint. And when you're trying to win multiple championships and then trying to three-peat, if you haven't changed the nucleus of that team, then it's going to be difficult. It's going to be extremely difficult.
Who do you like in the out east? Who do you like in what could be a really interesting Raptors-Milwaukee series?
This is the first time where, Giannis is facing a defender that's equal to his offensive abilities. Giannis is a 7-foot-tall offensive point guard that can really overpower smaller people, get to the basket, score, dunk, so forth and so on. Well, now he's facing a Kawhi Leonard who's arguably the best perimeter defender in our game. And not only does he have the physicality to defend, but he also has the mentality to defend. So Giannis will not be able to overpower Kawhi in those situations. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they match up, how they play. Giannis will definitely have to change his game a little bit. And Milwaukee will be tested by Toronto because of their defensive capabilities.
Isaiah, you have a history and a connection to the Knicks. You're close to that owner. Draft lottery is not that far away later this evening. Do you? How do you feel about Zion Williamson, whoever gets the number 1 overall pick, in terms of his potential at the next level?
Well, I'm always rooting for Jim Dolan and the Knicks to do well. You look at Zion, and he's a marketing bonanza. And whoever gets him, they're, from a marketing standpoint, in a basketball playing standpoint, I mean, it's, who knows what he can turn out to be. But I just know the excitement around him, the excitement in terms of what he's done as a basketball player and what he's capable of doing for your franchise off the floor. I mean, it's, I don't think we've ever seen anyone come in the league in a long time with this type of marketing potential where they can really just explode your franchise and take it to another level.
Just a couple more for you. Do you think, Isaiah, that combination of what you just walked us through in his game, for you, is he the no-brainer number 1 overall pick for whoever has the opportunity to draft first?
You can't pass on him. No way you can pass on. Again, his athleticism, his off the charts likability for a franchise, what he'll do for your fan base. There's no way you can pass on. He's a generational player, and these guys come along once in a lifetime in terms of their ability to be marketed. Now, what type of basketball player he will be, he's definitely got some growth that needs to occur. But what he'll do for your franchise in terms of energy, marketing wise, and everything else, I mean, he's, I guess the last one to come in and do it like this was LeBron from a marketing standpoint. And then LeBron turned out to be the great player that he is. So that was, the double ticket, so to speak.
Isaiah, last time I saw you, we were talking about your MBA, your entrepreneurial future, which has gone extremely well. Congratulations. And I know that you paired with the MBPA and Think 450. Can you tell us a bit about that partnership?
Yeah, last time I think we were talking, I was in school.
You were at Berkeley.
Yeah. So I went back. I finished. I got my master's in education at Berkeley, and now with Think 450 and the NBPA, we've partnered with them. I own a champagne company called Sherlon Champagne. We have over 200 acres over in Champagne. So it's the real deal. You're not getting a fake champagne. You're getting real champagne that comes from Champagne. Our champagne is low in sugar or zero sugar. And this is the first time that the NBA Players Association, Think 450, has partnered with one of their own in the champagne and in the business. And it's a deal that not only will we be partners in, but they'll also have some equity position in it also. And we're looking forward to working with the 450 NBA players, letting them know that when they celebrate and drink champagne, they should drink their own and celebrate with their own champagne. We have one of the only 90-plus rated portfolios of champagnes in the United States, and I'm very proud of the quality of champagnes that we've been able to deliver.
All right, I love that. My wife's a big champagne fan, so I'll contribute and make my wife very, very happy. And you're right, we will go, next time you get west, if you have time, hit me up. We'll go from sangria, moving up in the world, to some champagne, Isaiah Thomas. Thanks for hanging out, man.
Hey, thank you, and it was good to see you.
All right, really enjoyed the conversation with Isaiah. Really enjoyed the show. Thank you for being here. The very talented, and he's a fellow Iowan, very talented Chris Hassel taking over right now on CBS Sports HQ Sportsline in 30 minutes, and we'll see you back here on Writer's Block tomorrow at 5 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Pacific.